And welcome back to BIPL, where I definitely got a countdown on my way back from break and was not caught on by surprise at all. We're into Div 1. Thomas has given up on the heat and is staring into his fan, and I personally don't need one because I am a fan of this next match as we look to decide who will be the third place player in Div 1 of BIPL. Whizzy versus Hendo, Thomas.
I'm really excited. I've realized now that my mouse is really far away, so I can no longer see the table, which is really
yeah. What table do you want to see? I can read it to you.
You can read me a table. Okay, so obviously, like you mentioned, we've got Whizzy and Hendo.
Yes.
A battle of the almost.
Both players on 14 points at the moment, having both lost to Bozbez and Epos when they played them.
Yeah, and let he who hasn't lost to Bozbez and Epos cast the first stone on this one. So, yeah, we are looking for which players are going to take ownership of that third place. I think outside of some big Acros performances and some big Hendo and Whizzy down plays, this will be a battle for third. We're not going to see anyone sort of sneak that away unless they both have a bad showing. But we've got n0body and n0body. n0, a sort of tale of what could have been, wasn't able to make it to week 2, so could have perhaps had a better performance in there. We'll never really know, but is looking to make the full house if they finish last here. Yeah. So hopefully won't be going for that strat. n0body looking to make their first time outside of the bottom 2, but with Hendo and Whizzy in the game battling for third, might not be as successful in doing that.
I think it's going to be very difficult at this point for n0body to avoid those bottom 6 spots and avoid elimination. Is going to need to, at the very least, pick up third and then hope for the best in how other results fall this evening as well, with a head-to-head maybe falling his way too. But we'll see. Again, with Whizzy and Hendo in the match, that third place potentially looking like the highest the other two can climb, because Hendo and Whizzy have looked very, very strong over the course of this season. While they did both lose Depos and Boz, they didn't look bad doing so. Hendo in particular looked pretty strong in the match against Boz, although that was, I think, very clearly Boz's weakest performance of the season as well, where he still managed to win the match. Hendo looked good, and I think is coming into this week carrying a bit of momentum.
Yeah, they've all sort of done what you need to do if you're going to be coming in those third places. Beat everyone except the people who end up winning the whole thing. Hendo had a really good performance last week, as you mentioned. Wasn't really tipped to win the Battle of the Dragons up against Acros for that second place, but was able to take it away and has done what he's needed to do. Same with Whizzy. Will be interesting, like you mentioned, to see their head-to-head. Will be interesting to see the results in Acros and Jorday's games as well, because, you know, there's more to play than just third. There's 4th, 5th, 6th, all the way down. And while all these players will be safe from relegation, bragging rights in a community tournament is ultimately the real treasure. And I might be something I should have probably asked production. How far down does the prize money go in this season of BIPL? Top 4, thank you very much. So there is a chance if Whizzy finishes third, Acros gets the win, or Jorday gets a win.
No, we are, just to be clear, we are in a position where Whizzy or Hendo need to come in 4th in order to drop outside the top 4.
There we go. See, well prepped. Yeah. Love that, Nua.
They do literally need to come in last place in order to drop out of the prize money.
So it's all about extra dollar bills, and that's important to all of us, because, you know, it's can always use a penny or two more. So yeah, looking forward to this. Hopefully they are in the server. The fact that we're not makes me think that maybe we've got a delay.
I quite literally am in the server, so I don't know what you're talking about. We're exactly, as has been said by production there, about to do one last warm-up, and then the match will start, so we will be getting underway. All 4 players have joined the server, and we should hopefully be kicking things off pretty quickly here, as Admin KJ desperately tries to skip to the correct map in the rotation.
Yep, Admin KJ. It's worth pointing out, actually, while we're here, thank you for drawing attention to that, big shout out to all the admins, the people who keep this running. You know, we've seen KJ do a lot of work. We've seen Chris currently on production, but done a lot of work with admin. And the rest of the admin team do sacrifice, for the most part, their ability to play in BIPL. And that is something that, you know, might be interesting to see. Dare I bait Chris into announcing a run in BIPL Season 3? No, not hearing anything in my ear just yet. But, you know, they do sacrifice
That
their
silence
ability to
was
compete.
deafening.
That it very much was, yeah, they do sacrifice their ability to compete. They do sacrifice their ability to go for glory, all in the sake of making sure that you guys at home have a great tournament. Whereas Noor and I sacrifice our ability to compete by being shockingly bad at the game.
That's true. Those who can't play cast, I think, is the phrase. Well, it's not, but it probably should be. I'm definitely not on the skill level of all of these players. It's not even close. But I like talking about it, and I like seeing the cars go vroom across the lines. We're only 10 seconds away from that happening in our first match of Div 1 tonight, as Hendo versus Whizzy really is the story, much like we had in our first match of the evening. It just comes down to where those two finish in relation to each other. Nobody in N7, so much window dressing, unfortunately for them, although nobody currently fighting for his Div 1 life. It would take a pretty shocking week from Hendo or Whizzy in order for n0body to climb back up out of those bottom 6.
Yeah, great transition there from production. Love it. I do all 4 weeks. 5th week, new producer comes in and does a much better job of me of getting the hype up for the first game. But as we were mentioning, we are straight into the map. Hendo and Whizzy out front, as to be expected. N7 and n0body fighting over the scraps. But this is going to be a battle of the ever so slightly smaller giants. This is the battle for 3rd place. Hendo with a clip. Whizzy looking like they will find their way to the first map victory. And at the back, we've got a fairly close fight for 3rd. So let's see how this plays out.
Yeah. I do have a question for you, Thomas. How do you respond to the allegations? So now that you're a famous caster, you're having an inappropriate relationship with one of your fans?
Look. When everyone's...
N7 will touch a wall. n0body is up into 3rd place. Hendo will cruise to a comfortable 2nd. n0body got close to the wall. And then N7 will come in 4th.
Thanks for saving me, but I will dive straight back into it. The issue you have when you're so beloved, like myself, is that everyone's your fan. So where do I draw the line?
You're so right. Honestly, you still deserve love. Just because you're famous doesn't mean that you're not
internationally famous.
Oh, no. Moving on into round 2. We're going to see if anyone can survive a little bit on this one. A bit of a shaky start for round 1. You know, this is Div 1. Last round, Div 2, last match, you know, you kind of expect to see some of the clips here and there. As much as Vig and Shawnee were the top players in the division, it is generally a slightly lower level than Div 1, especially with Hendo and Whizzy in this match. You would kind of expect to see a lot of close rounds, a lot of tight battles for first place, but a couple of small errors did cost Whizzy in that cost Hendo in that previous round, excuse me. And now looking for redemption, as it is Whizzy and Hendo wheel to wheel through the back half of the track. This next drift decides quite a lot on this track, and it's Whizzy who's carrying a little bit more speed, entering that drift a little bit earlier. Hendo cutting wide to take this jump. Whizzy looking to come out of this one then a little bit earlier with a little bit more speed. Down to the last plastic turn we go. It is still wheel to wheel. There is nothing to recommend one over the other. It's Hendo who has exited earlier and wins by 33 thousandths. And it's Hendo who will walk away with the round win and a tied match as a result.
Yep, sharing the honors between them here at the start. N7 and n0body staying stalwart in their 3rd and 4th that they found themselves in the opening round. So, yeah, we're looking at a close round. We're looking at a close match in its entirety, at least if this has anything to say for it. And will be interesting to see. I think the spoiler here, if we're being honest, we're not expecting. I know we hyped it up a little bit, the possibility of a 3rd or 4th from either Whizzy or Hendo, but we are expecting these two to come 1st or 2nd. What's really important is how many rounds do they end up dropping points that they shouldn't. Ultimately, these two should be swapping the honors 1st and 2nd beneath them. Between them, and we see Hendo clipping a wall. And how costly will that be? N7 with a bonk of their own, so might not be the end of the world for Hendo, but this is going to be a lot of points dropped when you don't really need to, you know, just bring it home in 1st or 2nd. That's ultimately more valuable, or equally as valuable as winning a round than it is coming 3rd.
Yeah, Whizzy will keep the car out of the wall there, holding on to first place. n0body looking for a second place. Got very close. It's quite low speed from n0body, but it's just about enough to make it to the finish line. Picks up that second place. Hendo has to settle for third.
Yeah, we're seeing the sort of tail end of our Div 2 match times here in the opening rounds of this Div 1 match. So, safe to say we are expecting a little bit more pace. We have seen some close rounds. We've seen some ones not be as close. N7 there with the third back-to-back-to-back fourth place finish. Not for lack of pace, just consistency from what we can see. Finding the wall one too many times in each round and not coming up great. But we have seen fairly consistent times from everyone else. It's not like we've had a ton of resets here either. So it's really punishing here in Div 1. Any sort of mistake, doesn't even have to be a reset, can be quite punishing. We see now n0body looking to play spoiler. Whizzy did find himself too wide on one of those corner entries, but has been able to recuperate that time. I do wonder if those sections do suit the steering wheel player better, just with that extra little bit of finesse. But we see now heading into the final section, Whizzy looking to make up less than a tenth, 2/10 now in the final section, is really starting to fall behind. So now probably wants to be looking back more, just considering staying in second is more worth it than risking and finding himself on a DNF. And we are seeing N7 looking like they're going to get their first third place of the evening. And yeah, there we go. Their first time off the bottom of the leaderboard.
Yeah, looking good. It's a very strong time from Hendo at the top 1.0.634. For those of you who are interested in the numbers, Whizzy does have the best PB in this match on this map with a 100.341. Hendo is 7/10 behind. Sorry, not 7/10. 7,000ths behind that. 7/10 behind that'd be a long way. Hendo is only 7,000ths behind Whizzy's PP on this map. So really, at the top end in terms of pure pace, there is nothing to separate those two on that one. It is just going to come down to execution each time we go back to that map. As it is, the first time away, Whizzy walks away with a 3-point lead. Hendo looking to regain. We move to Liberty. Oh boy, Thomas, here we go.
Now, I meant to reach out to these players to be like, hey,
Yes.
just curious, have you by any chance loaded the map this week? But I forgot. So only time will tell. I did indeed. Only time will tell here. What I will say is, in terms of raw pace, every week, in terms of consistency, Whizzy's been up there. Like, ultimately, you'd expect that. He's battling for third, so you would expect him to be up there. But I feel like he's taken away a lot of those firsts and seconds away from EPOS and Bozbets. They haven't necessarily been the most consistent. And we look at last time out, Whizzy average third place. Their median time brought them into third place on Liberty, so that is a good sign. Hendo average finish brought him in at 7th on Liberty, so we are expecting a little bit of a differential here towards Whizzy, unless Hendo's been grinding that practice. So we'll wait and see how that goes. For the other people in the lobby, for those playing along at home, 11th and 10th between them, and N7, sorry, 10th. n0body 11th. So should see close battles all across the field as we now head straight into round 1 and off to an early start. Whizzy has fallen a little bit off the back of the lead pack, but N7 has fallen even further, and we will now see how this map plays out. And will we see any early bonks? It's safe to say possibly.
Oh yeah, at some point we definitely will. It's just the story of Liberty, but it's those end bonks that are just a little bit more dangerous. That finish line has caused problems for everyone in the past. At the moment, Whizzy and Hendo looking absolutely a-okay, cruising their way through the map with no issues. Just under a 10th will be separating them, I think, at this next checkpoint. It's just over a 10th. Whizzy has dropped a very small way behind Hendo, who definitely looks a little bit cleaner, at least in this first round on the map. Sets up a little bit wider for this turn. Whizzy a little bit tighter. He's going to try and catch, but doesn't have the pace. 23,000. Hendo with a 55.3 is quick on Liberty. And all of a sudden, here we go. I mean, that's all I got to say about it. This is now looking like Hendo may have dialed in on this map a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing best times for both of these guys. Last time out was a 55-1, so it's not like they don't have the
And their
pace.
PBs are only a couple of tenths above that as well. They're both 54.9s, I believe. Yeah, both their PBs in the 54.9 range.
Yeah, so we are looking at a battle of raw pace here, looking like maybe they have been able to wind in that consistency over time. Let's keep an eye on that, see if that continues.
Who's doing burnouts outside your window, Thomas?
Look, before we started, Noah, I was like,
I
hey,
didn't
I've got my
expect-
window open.
Yeah, like a little traffic rumbling every now and then. I didn't expect to hear someone actively attempting to strangle a cat using their tires.
Look, we've all done a burnout in our times. Well,
Whizzy touches.
Whizzy does touch there. Thank God. Bailed me out of that conversation. And n0body will be looking to close down the gap here. Whizzy just needs to bring it home. All of this is fairly trivial if you see any issues here at the end. Hendo makes a good run. Whizzy drops down and has lost 2 positions. Will be coming home dead last in this round.
Disaster for Whizzy. A big 10-point loss. Hendo delighted, I think. And it's a 55.3 again from Hendo, who had issues here the last time out and looks to have put in the time, sorted that out.
Yeah, and you know we're seeing some let's say unflattering jokes or references being made in the Twitch chat, but Whizzy has been a player who, when we've seen his head go down, when we've seen some issues start to creep into their game, they've sort of compounded. They've got worse and worse over time. It's why ultimately I backed Hendo to win this matchup, because I feel like Hendo has proven that backs against the wall, having a struggle, has been able to bring it back. You know, this should have been a battle for third in which, you know, Hendo was a point down, but through the match with Actros last time out, was able to pull out a second place where we weren't necessarily expecting it, and now is proving that that consistency, that good solid mental is keeping them ahead. I say all of that, they have hit the side of the track and are now a second down, but I started the point. I'm not going to finish it without something going wrong. And Whizzy now much more comfortable. n0body did get a clip. Hendo going for the safe finish, and means he got sniped by n7. Narrative in the mud. What do I even do this for, Nua? It's all coming to just a chaotic end.
Do you know what? The narrative is still there, Thomas. It's still worked out, because Hendo, you're saying it backs to the wall, really when the pressure's on, maybe able to pull it out more than Whizzy can, but Hendo, when the pressure's off, you didn't say anything about that. And Hendo, apparently, when suddenly finds a little bit of breathing room in the match, will immediately find a 4th place of his own. Just couldn't bear to be parted from Whizzy on that scoreboard for too long.
Yeah, loves a good stream, does Hendo. Likes to keep us on our toes. Likes to keep the competition tight, and we are seeing at the bottom of the leaderboard, n7 has sort of stemmed the flow a little bit, was having issues there, dropping a load of points early, but now is, well, more so because Whizzy and Hendo are sharing bonks apiece here, and 4th place finishes, and n0body now throwing their hat into the ring with a bonk of their own, but n7 is looking at the moment to be second on pace. Hendo is fighting back. Whizzy will be hoping to get that 3rd place out of Hendo, because like we mentioned, it's not so much about their head-to-head, it's more about where their worst runs come. n7 now going to the end. Whizzy made the second. Hendo gets the reset. n0body, as we go live, does get the finish. And back-to-back rounds now, we see Hendo, albeit this time was only going to be 3rd, but we have seen minus 20 points coming out. That is a substantial amount of your total.
It is. That's a brutal back-to-back rounds, especially at this point of the match when it had been so close so far. Hendo saw daylight behind him for the first time, only going to free fall immediately afterwards. Now 10 points down, give or take 1, on Whizzy in this match. And we move to Sun Petal Garden, a map that we've definitely heard mixed things from the players. Vig, not the hugest fan of it this time around, and I guess we're gonna see how these players do once they start to drive on it. Any stats for me on how they did in week 1 on this one?
I'm looking at it now. Thanks for the lead-in. Whizzy had an average rank by median finish of 2nd, Hendo of 4th. Average time only a 10th between each other. Best time only a 10th between each other. And median time I think you know where this is going. Only a tenth
tenth
between each other. It's crazy how stats work. So both of these are well practiced, or at least were well practiced on this map. We, of course, will be waiting to see how they have been able to retain that muscle memory. I must say, coming back to the input device question, I just feel like muscle memory must be easier to hold with the wheel.
There's more muscles involved. It just makes sense to me, Thomas.
I've been saying.
How many muscles does it? It takes 5 muscles to smile and 42 muscles to frown, or whatever that is, which I think is nonsense. But it's one of those things people like to say because it sounds nice. So what I'm saying is, you need to hook up a control system to your face and control the game with your facial muscles.
That would be good. That would be one hell of a workout. And if there's one thing both you and I are good at, it's smoothing arm face muscles, arguably too much, and being on broadcast for
hench eyebrows.
Far too long. So here we are in Sun Petal Garden. Rumor has it that maybe there's I don't know, the author of this map, the map maker, sort of like murdered a family member of Big Q.
Hang on now.
That's the only way I can assume Big Q has such hatred for this map. Okay, we are in here now. We're just gonna blow past it. No, let's not draw. Let's not draw on that.
That was a wild accusation for.
It's not. Look, it's not an accusation. It's a rumor. But we are seeing Hendo and Whizzy out ahead, having a much better run out here, opening up this map, and the finish. We should expect Hendo to bring this one home, but this is the first time at the Risky Fin. But we are doing right. Nobody taking and what? No, what? What? What happened there?
I don't know. He's gonna DNF.
I feel like I saw N7 in the finish.
I was busy looking, and I have to admit this to you. I was busy looking at everyone's PBs on the map and missed it. It's on me. He was perfectly balanced, as all things should be.
As all things should be. That is a tilter. That is up there with what we had, I believe it was in either week 1 or week 2, where we just had the failed turtle to the line. I believe that was on Manifest. But we are seeing Hendo and Whizzy continuing to keep their stronghold at the front of this battle. Nobody looking to play spoiler, but probably not going to find their way in unless Whizzy or Hendo make an error. And we do see Whizzy a little bit wide. Nobody finding a little bit of pace there. The drift very precise from all three. Hendo with a little bit more width on the exit. All three of them now separated within a quarter of a tenth. Nobody finding an error, so it will just be a mano-y-mano grudge match at the front. Hendo versus Whizzy going into this final outside dirt. Hendo taking a more inside line. Whizzy really getting up into that corner. It's a run out now. Whizzy should have it. There we go. 400ths of a second. This is one thing I want to discuss in Trapmania. That was 400ths of a second. That's very close.
Yeah.
It just didn't feel like that was going to be surmountable in that final checkpoint. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. That's how it goes sometimes. And yes, I would like, if that finish line is 1 block further away or something, like there is always the chance to lose it. And sometimes you do. It's always pretty entertaining. I mean, the fact that it's a big, long outside dirt leading into it, obviously the chance for a touch as well, but equally the chance for someone to just kind of miscalculate a little bit, lose a gear. It's kind of a testament to how good these players are at the top of Div 1 as well, that we very rarely see that happen.
Yeah, and while this is all going on, the titans of Div 1 are currently deciding who's going to join the other one's winners interview. Because apparently Boz has been in the sun for an hour.
No.
And that
did you miss that earlier today? That was just a preview for the upcoming match, and the fact that things are going on. Boz versus EPOS, undefeated champions of Div 1 at the moment. Hendo's going to hit a wall and get overtaken by N7. Whizzy's going to win the round. Hang on. Nobody. Hendo going to crash. Hendo doesn't make the line. Where's Nobody? There he goes across the finish line, and will pick up a 3rd place. Hendo will drop a further 10 points. Boz and Epos, obviously both been grinding a little bit today, trying to get ready for tonight's match as well, but both of them, wanted to get outside and enjoy the sunshine. It is very hot in the British Isles this evening, and was earlier today as well, and so they agreed to a mandatory 1-hour break each in the middle of the day, when they both had to post a picture of themselves touching grass.
I love everything about that because, like, just a heads up to anyone who competes in anything ever, taking an hour break during the day will make you better. Like, you
Also
don't
true.
just grind all day, all night.
That's why I never studied and just slept instead. It's just, you know, you got to be in that relaxed mindset for exams.
Yeah, and is that a comment on a zoology degree? Find out next week. But we
Hey, I
are
got
seeing
a
here
high
n0body
2-1.
looking to. I didn't arts degree. We are seeing n0body looking to find his way into the top two. Whizzy and Hendo. They cannot be separated as we head into the final dirt turn. Hendo needs to make up some time. I praised him earlier for consistency, but that has been his fault for the past two maps. Will he be able to snipe it at the end? Whizzy goes high. Hendo goes low, but not low enough. Did get the finish, which wasn't aware we were going to be giving creds out for, but has struggled with that in recent rounds. So stemmed the bleeding a little bit, but still does not want to be giving up those minus points, particularly when he's given ultimately 30 points for free so far this match. So yeah, Whizzy, dare I say, is in the driving seat because he's got a steering wheel, but also because he's in the lead.
Yes, that is correct. Whizzy is in the lead at the moment, and it's a 23-point lead. It's not tiny. It's not massive either. It could be overcome yet, especially once we do eliminate one player. It's really up to Whizzy to just continue to stick those firsts as long as possible now and let Hendo drop a little bit further down the leaderboard. Hendo needs to start making that comeback, needs to lock this score as close to 70 for as long as possible and try and, you know, get Whizzy a little bit closer into the realm of vulnerability once we do head down towards those last chances. And speaking of vulnerable, n0body 22 points, n0body 39 points. They are looking just incredibly vulnerable, I would say, heading into Manifest. Very likely that we see a last chance arrive pretty soon for n0body.
Yeah, we'll start seeing the failures coming in and the DNFs coming in. We'll now see people discussing EPOS has had a cider at 1:30. Ooh, controversial. Is cider a performance-enhancing drug in Trackmania?
Okay,
we've got the
I'll
admins on the line.
I think yes, and here's why. Because in the same way that alcohol is banned from competitive shooting events, not because it's dangerous to have drunk people handling guns, but because alcohol is a performance-enhancing drug for competitive shooting, because it's all about having very steady hands and a slow heart rate, right? So I'll say it, I think having very steady hands in a track that you know very well and just need to execute learned muscle memory as well might be pretty useful in Trackmania. So all I'm saying is, good pint of bitters down at the Winchester before a match probably should be banned.
Now, I've just seen in Twitch chat, I might have started something.
It's a big crash from Whizzy. It's a big crash from Whizzy. Yep. We'll ignore that.
I'm not saying you did murder someone's family member. I'm just saying the response to some of the players is almost like you murdered someone's family member. But we move. Moving on, Hendo now up in the lead. Whizzy looking to make up those spots. We do see a bot there from n0body. We'll see if that is able to allow Whizzy in. Yes, it is indeed. Whizzy has had the luck of the draw here in the rounds that they are struggling with. But it is not over yet. We have seen issues here in the finish. But Hendo looks fairly comfortable. Whizzy also coming home in a third position. It's a 7-point differential here. n0body minus 10 will be ever so slightly closer to that last chance, and with their current performance, we're probably seeing that last chance won't be long. And that was an inquisitive ooh.
It was a pretty good time. It was a 101.1. It wasn't the best that we've seen. You know, the world record does sit about 7/10 faster, but from what we've seen tonight, it's been a lot of 101.3s. So I'll take it. It was pretty quick.
Yeah, we got to respect that. You know, very rarely I do feel like, you know, that at the top level of Trackmania, you know, when we see the in World Tour, we did occasionally see world records going in rounds, or at least we tracked the records within the tournament, which perhaps we can look to do at some point in the future here. But it does feel like at this level, at the ever so slight tier down, that we are less likely to see those PBs in rounds from the top players. As mentioned, we did see one last time out for Burnt Bagels, I believe it was. But yeah, Whizzy and Hendo now both at the front, as we would expect. Would expect Whizzy now to quite comfortably come home here in first. Hendo just needs to bring it home in second, stem the bleeding in this round, live to fight another day. And n7 will also stem a little bit of bleeding, but will find himself only 1 round away from last chance.
Yeah, and n7 very much on track for that full house that you mentioned previously, picking up a 0-point week, a 1-point week, 2, 3, and 4 as well, because on pace to be the first player eliminated here in week 5 in our first match of Div 1. 5 points, all that remains. Nobody with a relatively comfortable buffer, honestly, of 25 at the moment, sitting 20 points above n7. It's going to be a couple of rounds of n7 on last chance with nobody else on last chance with them. And I don't know, and nobody is doing what he needs to do his best to avoid relegation. I don't think it's going to be enough, but he is at least leaving it all on the table.
Yeah, it will be tough for n0body to fight out of that relegation battle. Obviously, we won't know until the day has concluded. We will hopefully give you that information, unless the tie breaks get too confusing, and then we will leave it to the admins.
And then Thomas will stay live on stream until they're resolved to give you the answer.
You know it, yeah, because there's nothing I love doing more after 6 hours of Trackmania broadcasting in 24 hours. It's another hour of Trackmania broadcasting, but we do see here now Whizzy and Hendo coming over the jump. It is incredibly close, separated by practically nothing. Oh my god. It's getting close, and it is staying close. We do see him now heading into the final round. Hendo does have the speed, so will pull ahead, but 0.03 of a second. 36 thousandths. This is getting close, and that is, oh my god, that was an absurd time that we've just seen in rounds.
Quick, yeah, 1 minute 6 tenths as well. That is quick, and that is pretty clutch from Hendo, who really does need to be picking up round win after round win at the moment to try and haul Whizzy back in, and managing to defend by 300ths. Big. That follow up, it's poor. It's a poor follow up from Hendo to what was an incredible last round.
Look, we've all done Cup of the Day, where you win a round, you adrenaline spikes. You're like, I'm the best. I'm the new Carl Jr., a reference I learned yesterday. And then what happens in the next round?
You crash. Instantly.
You crash. You DNF. You lose. It's first to last challenge, right? It's the easiest of the 2 challenges to do. Yeah. So Hendo, a little bit too much adrenaline through the system. Blood pumping maybe a little bit too much. n7, like we mentioned, is on last chance, but it's currently in second, so we'll live to fight another day. Might be able to snipe n0body in this battle, but Hendo doing everyone a favor here and being in last place to allow those at the bottom of the table another chance of life. Whizzy out ahead, nothing too much to worry about, like we mentioned. Only really fighting Hendo here. A 101 flat. A good time, we'd have said 2 rounds ago, but we have seen better times so far in this map, so but still a good time, and to be fair, a good time from n7 and n0body. They got in there for a round's time in the mid 101s, so gotta respect that, and that is the last we'll see of that map for a little bit. Back to our lovely faces without any warning. Love that. And
it happens every time at the same time. I feel like you shouldn't need a warning at this point.
Look, and now, yes, I agree, particularly as this is something I should have been doing the whole time. But I like showing the UI.
Yeah,
I like showing warm-up, because there's all I want to do.
I like when Chris goes and finds cool camera angles while we're looking at our faces here.
But is that as fun as when you cast warm-up?
Yes.
Your favorite hobby, other than saying
well, that's
things
the thing
on stream.
is, the fact that my face is on screen absolutely does not prevent me from casting warm-up, which in many ways makes it funnier because people could potentially see me cast the warm-up.
That's good, and see the face drop as it goes down.
Actual shame hit me.
While we wait for the last for this upcoming map, I just want to give a little bit of inside baseball. Before we started last week's stream,
yes,
I asked if Nur had ever said anything on stream that he immediately regretted, and he said no.
Can't believe you're bringing this up again.
Can anyone remind me? Just Twitch chat. I've forgotten. It's crazy. It's been a big week. I've done a lot of broadcasts recently. Yeah. Did anything happen in that stream that maybe Nua had regretted?
I don't think so. I think it was a perfectly normal stream that spawned no clips that over 850 people have seen.
That's good.
Yeah. Hey, you know, this is good, this camera angle. Oh, it was real pretty. It's gone
Oh.
now, and we are underway with our first round back on Liberty. Potentially the last time we visited, as it would take an awful lot to get back here with both Whizzy and Hendo still in this match. I think at that point, nobody in N7 likely to be gone. And at the moment, N7, speaking of being gone, sits in last place. Hendo with a very small clip will drop back towards N7, and N7 still carrying speed will manage to overtake Hendo, but it is not by much. It is not by any means comfortable at the moment.
Yeah, we are seeing a touch more inconsistency from Hendo on this map. I didn't check the stats. I will do shortly to see how he's performed the first time out here. Whizzy doing well, loves a bit of dirt, good on the old wheel. N7 doing his best, like I mentioned, to try and take n0body down with him, but we do get the finish here. Whizzy has absolutely messed up the finish, is going for the safe, does get the safe, and Hendo will be coming in last place. Slightly less points differential there. Whizzy had the opportunity for the 10 points, did only take the maths.
Yep,
6.
yeah. Look, the main thing there, though, really is the fact that n0body doesn't lose any points. That is bad for N7 right now, who really needs someone to join him down on last chance. And n0body stays on 8, which means that he can still afford a 3rd place and not drop.
Yeah, we've got lots of protection here for n0body. Does pay to be consistent. I am going to check the stats to see if N7 has won a round so far this evening.
Not on Liberty.
Not on
overall.
Anywhere.
Not on any map. That is
so. Has not had a round where they have not lost 0 points. So we'll be doing a check-in to see how many points they would be on if we were keeping track of that in a moment. But we are seeing Hendo and Whizzy slugging it away up front. Whizzy there with more of an inside line has been able to keep more of that speed going into the outside dirt. Both of them going high. Hendo going a little bit higher, carrying more speed. We go into the transition. Both landing the drift quite well, but Whizzy absolutely slingshotting now into the finish. Will land earlier, but still gets the run out before Hendo, and N7 will drop. That is a 4th place in last chance. That will be the end of N7 for this evening, and that will be a minus 13. So was able to take 13 points with him, but unfortunately wasn't able to do it, and n0body has survived an extra round. So arguably would have been here anyway.
Oh, there goes n0body. Thomas, the main thing to note here is that N7 has done it. He has finished in literally every possible position in this season of BIPL Season 2, including missing a week. Just true Giga Chad moments, you know? Just genuinely came in, lost a match, didn't participate in a match, came 3rd, came 2nd, came 1st, and left. Finishing on exactly 10 points. Just very impressive.
You've got to respect the commitment to a good stat.
Yeah, the commitment to the bit. I also want to respect the tightness of the battle between Whizzy and Hendo at the moment, which remains close despite Whizzy losing his wheels a little bit there on the dirt. Hendo out to a little bit of a lead. Whizzy deep on the inside though. Hendo with more speed up the hill, therefore potentially jumping further. Clips the wall. Whizzy snipes.
Wow, does Whizzy snipe or does Hendo unsnipe? Is the question.
I'm going to call that a snipe because here's the thing, right? Hendo carries a bit more speed up that hill. It was something I kind of wanted to talk about in one of these rounds at some point anyway, which is carrying more speed towards that jump is something we've nearly seen players cost them a couple of times. Because if you're carrying that extra speed, you're usually at an angle that leaves you slightly further to the left on the finish. You land a little bit further along the road, and someone could potentially sneak in on the inside post. And unfortunately there, that was taken to the extreme for Hendo, who was so far to the left, he ends up bonking on that finish arch and manages lose the place to Whizzy at that finish line. Big round for Whizzy, who is still 40 points ahead of Hendo at this point. I'll say it, I think Whizzy is starting to look like that podium place in Div 1 is all but locked in.
Yeah, looking very comfortable. 40 points in their pocket. Dare I say, maybe I could even bring it home with 40 points in my pocket. But not against Hendo. So. He's talented, right? Look, I've lost Cup of the Day leaderboard times to Hendo more times than I can count because it's all the times I've done Cup of the Day. Whizzy did bonk there, so we will be seeing if these two can bring it home. They do. n0body will live to fight another day. Whizzy will bleed 7 more points
9
from
more
Hendo
points,
in
excuse
that.
you. Oh,
well,
so,
I've done.
You've done maths. It's madness. It's madness. Doesn't make any sense.
Some of us, we just We live for the stats, Noah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's all about the differential.
Yeah. Some of us are living for the weekend, and some of us are living for stats. And, it takes all types, I guess, Thomas.
Yep, it does indeed. And yeah, we did see there Whizzy with an unsuspected third place. Obviously, now we only have 3 left. Nobody has lived to fight for an extra map, which is commendable. I think every map you're able to take yourself to against these titans of Div 1 is something to be appreciated for. Whizzy there, just looking at their combined Liberty times across the 8 maps we played, has been the most consistent. Only had 2 crashes compared to Hendo's 3, but did have the worst time of anyone actually in that lobby. So did have some pretty big moments. But now we're heading in to Sun Petal Gardens, I think. And we've got Ski Freak here in the chat. Hopefully still here. We haven't scared him away. Whizzy last time out won 3 of these rounds. Hendo won 1 and came 4th in one of them. So we will be expecting Whizzy to even further progress their lead here. I don't think this will be decided on Sun Petal Gardens. I do think we will be coming back to Manifest.
I, in fact, think it is literally impossible for it to be decided on Sun Petal Gardens here.
See, there we go. Stats back and forth, like some sort of rally. But then Manifest is where it evens out a bit more between the two of them. But we are expecting Whizzy to go in with a round of the sort of 30-point lead. So might be.
Why did Hendo set a 52-1 in warm-up? That's quick. That is a 10th away from his PB. Hendo's on it, and is going to need that pace to continue because he needs to pick up a lot of round wins over Whizzy before this match ends. And at the moment, nobody is sitting a couple of tenths behind. Could potentially just be 1 round of Sun Petal Gardens and gone home. Mom called to come back indoors. It's time to stop playing in the garden.
The Sun Petal Garden, for those of you who aren't keeping track at home, that was, dare I say, a play on words by Nua. Respect it. Respect it.
That was an accident.
Was it really? You're going to admit you could have taken it. But anyway, Whizzy now taking
Obviously
the lead
it wasn't.
into...
Hang on, how would that possibly have been an accident? You think that's just something I say in general about... That's another 52-1, Jesus Christ. You think that's just something I generally say about random Trackmania maps? His mom said it's time to stop playing in the garden?
Look, I thought maybe it was a formative moment in your childhood. It's Ireland. It's similar to Wales. It suddenly rains.
I have been in a garden before and sometimes asked to come back inside from it. Sure, I don't know if I'd call that formative.
That's a nice time there by Hendo, particularly as well as we saw him sort of a 10th to 2 tenths down on Whizzy at parts in the rollout there. So there is more time to be found. Not going to be found on the inside of that corner, though. What they will find there is pain.
Yeah, we should note that nobody was eliminated in that round. That was the thing that ultimately did happen as we were kind of going off Bed Gardens in the middle of it. And Whizzy is out to another big lead. It's bad for Hendo that Whizzy is leading this round. Back to you, Thomas.
Yeah, I'm still annoyed at n0body for being called n0body. Because saying nobody was eliminated that last round, it's just confusing.
Yeah. Hey, shout out to the Irish Rocket League team.
Oh, Whizzy is not having a good run here. Probably has time in the back.
Cheeky.
Oh, both of them.
I feel like that was near deliberate from Whizzy. It's, if not near deliberate, very deliberate, as Hendo will cross the line and get that -8 points. Yeah, no, shout out to the Irish Rocket League team that I cast at one point in an Irish tournament, who were called Team. That's very frustrating to say.
Was it at least spelt different?
No.
I respect that. I do respect that. I was actually going to ask Chris to put my name as n0body, but in Welsh.
But with the O and...
Oh, so it's going to be clean Newydd?
Yeah,
clean. I don't know which way around.
Is that what New Lake translates to?
It is indeed.
Well, that's interesting because that is not what New Lake translates to.
That's what the Discord is called, Noah!
I know it is. You've been bamboozled.
Outrageous.
Yeah, absolutely done in.
What does it mean?
Hey, Endo's leading around.
Don't distract the fans at home. This is incredibly close. Whizzy looking to try and come back here. We'll need a much better outside dirt before we head into the final finish. Will not find it. Has hit the wall. What does n0body mean?
n0body, when I picked it as a screen name when I was probably like 16 years old, I thought meant new hero. But, and here's where there's a sting in the tail,
Yeah.
of the tail, as it were. Irish grammar, and we're going to get technical with it for a second here.
That's fine. It's not. There's nothing important going on.
Irish grammar goes noun adjective, whereas n0body is adjective noun, right? So that's incorrect grammar. But it turns out that n0body is correct grammar, Thomas. If specifically you are talking about the title of something, and you are, for example, a book titled n0body, and it means rather than new hero, modern hero. So there you go. That's apparently what my name means, and I found that out about 8 years of calling myself it.
That's incredible. Do not know what that is in Welsh, so we'll not be doing that. But we are seeing here Hendo stretching out his legs once again. We will be looking to see if he is able to get a good time. Whizzy has made up a ton of time in there, but maybe carried more speed than he was expecting and has had a struggle. Hendo now going into the final outside dirt. Will he be able to nail it? Nails the first section, nails the second section. Much better than the last time out. Coming into the finish, we are seeing a fairly decent 52-1. Check for a Taz. All I'm saying is we've seen a lot of 52-1s from Hendo. Maybe it broke in one of those rounds, which is why we saw an issue. That's suspect.
I think it's very entertaining that I have just put the word modern into Google Translate to try and find out what it is in Welsh. And Welsh apparently doesn't have a word for modern that Google can translate it to.
Look.
What does that say about the Welsh, Thomas?
Maybe it says that Welsh is a very deep language that has been around for many, many years, arguably longer than English. Not going to start beef across the pond. I think there's been enough of that historically. But fun fact, just going to start beef with the Scottish people, if that's all right, while we're here.
I can do that as well afterwards. Yeah. You do yours and I'll do mine.
There we go. Yeah, we'll take the one. The historic language spoken in the south of Scotland was Welsh and not Scottish.
Really?
So when you enter Scotland and it says whatever the heck it says in Scottish Gaelic, it should really be in Welsh. So it should say Croesio I Scotland instead of whatever it says in Gaelic. Would you like to know
how I start my beef with the Scots? Is telling you that one of the major differences between a lot of Irish whiskies and Scottish whiskies is that Irish whiskies are made using pot stills and the Scottish whiskies are made using coffee stills. And the coffee still was invented by an Irishman for the purpose of distilling whiskey, and then abandoned because he thought it was crap.
I see.
And that's what the Scottish used to make their whiskey. So draw your own conclusions.
What sucks there is that in that anecdote, didn't even bother talking about Welsh whiskey. We make it two. We make it two.
No, I don't think so.
Next break, I will get that bottle. I will finish the bottle I have to prove a point.
No, you don't need to do that. Hey, Whizzy's winning a round. Hendo is about to drop 5 points if he loses this one. It'll be close though, and it will be one more second place away from it. Here on Manifest, the map that has gone okay, I would say, for Hendo over the course of the evening so far. Has picked up 4 wins here. Unfortunately for him, Whizzy has also picked up 4 wins, and the difference between the two of them is that Whizzy has 1 extra second place and Hendo has 1 extra 4th place. And Whizzy's about to add to that win total as well. Hendo now trailing by over a second. It is looking all but Jover. This is 3rd place, remember, on the line in Season 2 of the BIPL. And Whizzy is looking to put, I think at this point, has 1 foot up on that podium step.
Yeah, it's sort of in that position where both feet are on the podium step, but you're sort of at the beginning. Very nice time.
Yeah, someone else is
1.6.
Oh, it's quick. Someone is starting a speech, you know, they're bringing out the medals still. You're standing there looking awkward, hands behind your back, waiting to actually be announced. Is that where Whizzy is at the moment?
He's sort of like, he's both feet up, but it's a slightly awkward podium in this metaphor. And he's also having to like grab something, and there's a slim chance he fails that skill check.
Oh.
Maybe it's been,
Baldur's Gate reference.
Sure. Maybe it's been... Maybe it's been, made a bit slippery. Maybe he's going to step on that. Maybe Hendo is just going to give him a a lift up. Who knows? But we will be seeing Hendo, I believe, if not this round, the next round will be falling into last chance, and Whizzy will have a significant bank of points to save them from any potential shenanigans taking them into fourth place. But maybe Whizzy is just racing after himself.
Yeah, Whizzy just will vanish.
What?
Hendo, he was gonna crash. He was gonna crash. He reset, and Hendo is now leading the round by 2.5 seconds. Not to drop to last chance on this round. Strip away 8 points from Whizzy. And if we are keeping score, if the rounds do end, if this round does end this way, Hendo would need to win from that point forward 6 rounds in a row in order to win. With an additional, should be noted,
freebie
buffer of 1 point. Oh, hey! A very large house spider.
How large is very large?
Get it.
Can I go get the house spider? Right, so n0body currently has no headphones in. So Twitch chat, how about you just play with me here and you say I said something really, and then n0body's back and Whizzy
the house spider ran away when I tried to get near him.
Ah, damn it.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. I was going to be cool and bring the house spider onto stream, but it ran away. We don't believe you at all.
There has
we will
been
now
a
be going...
lot of discussion of spiders in the Ireland chat over on the British and Irish Discord server over the last couple of weeks. Not last couple of weeks, last couple of days. We've been saying a lot about spiders, so you know it's cool. Hey, Hendo crashed. He's going to be dropping to last chance, and Whizzy is only losing 4 points.
We have just, if someone's made a good point, hell no spiders on stream. We would just be needlessly triggering probably about 20% of the audience if we just randomly showed a spider.
They're just little guys. They're just pals.
They're just friends, 8-legged, many-eyed friends. You know, who among us doesn't have a small, terrifying 8-legged friend that eats flies and sort of crawls into your bed at night and tickles your toes? And Whizzy finishes it up with a 1.8. 5/10 off world record, give or take. Hendo is going to be in last chance. And now, I said Hendo did well with his back against the wall, but his back is against the wall and Whizzy is about half a mile ahead in this 1 mile race. So it will take quite a miraculous comeback from here on out. But we are here for Hendo. We believe that he will make this at least interesting. Does have the ability to find the pace when it's needed, but is up against the pace machine with Whizzy at the moment, who has been setting 1 minute times on this map consistently. So as we go into this final round with Hendo trailing, we may find ourselves seeing more of the same.
Yeah, potentially. Whizzy is the smallest of leads at the moment, half a tenth. This particular area of the map has been a little bit of an issue for Hendo a couple of times around, cleanly through the grass for the moment. We'll dodge the walls on that chicane as well. Onto the plastic, Whizzy starts higher and will carry a little bit of speed out. Hendo having to adjust a lot further into that corner, but not losing any time to Whizzy at the moment. This drift, again, so decisive. Whizzy takes just that little bit cleaner. Hendo having to readjust mid-turn, nearly looks for a jump cut. Trails Whizzy still. Whizzy will get a little bit wider, a little bit more of a snap on the exit, giving him speed, carrying it to the line. Ladies, gentlemen, everyone joining us, Whizzy will be your third place player in Div 1 of BIPL Season 2.
Congratulations to Whizzy. Put up a fight. Did have to be consistent. We've got to look at the scoreboard. Hendo bled 30 points in the middle of this round for no real reason, and the final total is 26. Could have been a little bit better, but great performance by Whizzy. Let's not take that away from Whizzy, and we will be expecting Whizzy to have an interview in his usual keen for the interview self. So we will just be waiting there. This time, n0body, I think maybe you can do the mic check.
Me? I don't know how to do the mic check. I've never done the mic check. What? I'll go do the mic check. Yeah.
You say, repeat after me.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
Can you? He left. So we're currently doing the mic checks. We're now just here. And again, chat, pretend I've said something really funny. Just a brick wall of ha-ha hee-hees. Whatever the cool Zoomer Trapmania wing Ks, I don't know what they are. Just wall of it. That would be really great. But now we're seeing a mic check. It does appear now that maybe n0body's just talking to them, having a catch-up, seeing what the boys are up to. So it's just a power hour. It's me and production. You can't hear. So it's a bit of a one-way conversation, but yeah, we're still going. Maybe n0body's laying the groundwork Maybe he's doing a bit of admin here, telling
All
them
right,
the
here we
function.
go. We're getting Whizzy in very quickly. Whizzy, congratulations. You are guaranteed 3rd place in Div 1 of this season.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Big performance, honestly. You kind of got out to a pretty early lead. It happened really when, and look, we'll say what before Hendo joins us here. Hendo had a few stinking rounds in a row. Dropped 20 points kind of off the bat after opening up a little bit of a lead. And from there, you kind of just sailed off into the distance.
Yeah, I think this week I tried to do a bit of a different approach. I tried to do a bit more safe, not being afraid to release. Not well, I say that. I think I had less full crash rounds, if we were to say that. So, I tried to take that into account. So maybe that helped me in the early stage. But yeah, it was very beneficial to say the least.
Yeah, and well, we do have a little bit of a surprise, which is, I believe, for the first time in BIPL, or at least the first time I've been here, so I'm going to call it the first time. We're going to get a double interview. We're going to drag Hendo down as well. Hendo, thank you for joining us as well. Congratulations. Look, ultimately, you do lose out in week 5 here. I'm sorry for having to bring it up again, but you are now still guaranteed top 4. You finished 4th place in Season 2 here of BIPL.
That was fun. Sorry, I had the stream open at the same time, and I was like,
Yeah.
"Whoa, that is a lot of voices."
I figured that might be the case, so I did decide to just keep talking for a few seconds to hopefully sort it out.
Oh man, yeah, weird game. I just couldn't get into it.
Yeah, I was
I
kind of
think
just
that-
saying to. Sorry.
No, go on.
I was just gonna say, you had a decently strong start. I was saying to Whizzy, and then you finally managed to pick up a bit of a lead yourself when Whizzy did drop 10 points in one of the rounds, and then you immediately dropped 20 points yourself, and from there it was kind of just a little bit rough.
I think it was the last 2 rounds of Liberty where it was just like, oh, it's not happening. And then I think Sun Petal, I think I lost 3 rounds by like less than a tenth, and it's like, oh man, come on.
It does get tough from that point on.
But Whizzy played well. Whizzy didn't really make any big mistakes because I was watching. Is he here? He is here.
Yeah, Whizzy's here.
I was like, is he still here? Because I was watching like last week's games, and I was like, Whizzy does like a good time, a mere time, a crash time, a good time, a mere time, a crash time, and he just didn't do any crash times.
Yeah, I think I was saying just then. I tried to switch it up a bit, and just try to chill out a bit, and not be afraid to release and take safe finishes. And God, that Liberty end, what?
I hate that end, man. I hate it.
I digress.
It's just jump drifts, and then the precision, and then it's blind, and it's like, oh, I just hate it, man.
But like as an example, there, I took the safe finish a few times, but yeah, I tried to switch it up a bit, but so pace wasn't amazing, but it was fine, if that makes sense, you know.
Yeah. We are now obviously finished with BIPL Season 2. Can I just get like quick overall impressions from you both? You know, happy with your finishes, happy with how the entire tournament played out, you know? Whizzy, you first?
You sure? I think, yeah, I'm pretty happy, pretty content with, you know, with top 3. I think, yeah, I've had a few other things on the side of BIPL, so I think, yeah, it's been a satisfying result for me, but also it's a very significant change from season 1. Is the level and the level of commitment a lot of these guys are wanting to put in. They want to improve, and it's great to say. Even, you know, Hendo's pace, and you know, when he had those good rounds, his pace was phenomenal. You know, putting 0.1s in on Sun Petal is no easy feat at all. It's very difficult, and also a load of other drivers as well really stepping up. It's good to see. So yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that, because I think season 1 was very much there is a top 3, and then it was Acros, and then it was like the rest of us. So I think like I was aiming for like, okay, I wanted top 4. I wanted top 4 because I wanted to beat Acros, and that is the same result as I got 6 months ago, however long it was in the cup. Was pretty much the goal. So kind of played some weeks, played good some weeks. we take it, we move on. We go
You stay
next.
happy with it.